Hey everyone, Brad the mechanic here. Today we're working on a 2004 Chevy Impala SS. It's going to be pretty much the same for a non-SS, but what we're going to do is we're going to change the serpentine belt and the power steering pump. This one has two belts because of the supercharger, so we are going to get down in here and take them off. And first things first, we're going to go to this tensioner right here, and we're going to loosen this, and that's going to take this belt off, and then we're going to come down here and loosen this one, and this is going to get the other belt off. So we're going to start by doing that, and then we'll start moving down. We're going to take this coolant reservoir off to get more access to the pump. So now we got the belts off, and there was two 11 mil bolts or nuts that hold the coolant reservoir on. I just moved that to the side. Now we have a little bit more room down here, and we're going to start by so we're going to get back here, and we're going to have to go down below, and we're going to take this wheel off in order to get access to the inside of the engine there. So now that we're under here, we got the wheel off, have it on a jack stand. We're going to get in here, and as you can see, that bolt or that line right there, that's a 16 millimeter, and then there is a soft line, a low pressure line that you can use your needle nose to get that off and that off. And then there's a couple, I believe 12 mil bolts that are holding that on, and then we'll be able to get this off here. So I'm going to start by taking these two lines off. All right, so I got the 16 off there, and I also got the low pressure line off, and see that yellow cap? That sometimes comes with the pumps, or it comes with new power steering lines when you get them. I use that to cover that, and it keeps it from leaking all the fluid out. Luckily for this one, the fluid was already gone, so I don't have any leaking out. But that cap right there is going to help keep the mess to a minimum, and you can even get another one that shoves up into the hole where that line came in to keep it from leaking too much. The new pump will have a little plug for that hole right there that you can use to keep it from losing all the fluid. So now the next step we're going to do, now that we have this off, is get the two bolts that are behind this pulley. You're going to have to move the pulley in order to get access to the bolts. See how there's a hole there? There's going to be two 12 millimeter bolts in there. One you can get from the bottom, one you can get from the top. So we're going to take those off right now. So if you look here, it's actually a 13 mil or a half inch. Once you get it out, you get your hands behind here, and then you pull it out like that. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing for the one just above it, all right? Now, as you can see, I got my 12 mil. You can see it right in there. Or I mean 13. It's a 13 or half inch, sorry. Usually they're 12s, but this one's 13 on this car. So yeah, 13 mil or half inch, get that off, and then we'll be able to finagle this pump out of there. All right, got the old pump off, and now we're going to remove this pulley and replace it onto here. See? So you're gonna need to get a pulley puller. You can rent one from the store, from AutoZone or something, and you can get this off, and I'll show you how. So I'll show you for this one. There's a couple different types of pullers, but this one is the one I use, and it's going to clamp around here. Okay, so you're going to get it to clamp around there, then you're going to take this one. See how this ridge is here? This is going to go in there, and these are going to go around it. Okay, I'm trying to do this one-handed here, but this is going to go on here, and these are going to clamp around it. Boom, like that. See how they're around it? Then you're going to take this retainer, you're going to go over it, make sure it's all held together. See, and then once you start spinning this down, it's going to pull this pump or this pulley right off of there. So I started turning this. And I'm going to start turning this while holding this, and it's going to pull that out. So I zipped this down while this nut was coming up, and it took that right off of there. So then when you're done, you can kind of just take it apart and then I'll show you guys how to put this on here. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to find the one that threads into here, okay? And this, what this is going to do is this is going to push down on here. So we're going to, I'll show you here really quick. Let me get this spun here. So we're going to thread it in there till it stops. Stop there. And we're going to tighten this down. So we're going to hold this and tighten this, and it's going to push it down on there. So what I do here is I get the wrench on here, and then I hold this pulley with my hands and crank this, and it'll tighten that. Then once you get it pushed down until it stops, you pull this thing out, and you'll notice that it's flush. That's what you want. Now we're ready to put this back in the car. So in order to get it in there, I had the pulley on top, and I kind of slid it up through here with the pulley facing up here in order to get it in there. That was the easiest way to get it in there. So in order to get that up there, I started with the bottom bolt, and I tried, you can kind of see, so what I did is I put them both in the pump and then moved it around until I could feel it, and then I hand tightened them with the socket extension before I get my ratchet on. So as you can see, there's a plug here and a plug here. I'm going to pop those off and then put those lines back on there. So your line is going to have an O-ring in the pump with it, or I mean it's going to have a pump hose O-ring for the line in the pump. So you're going to place it, and I'll show you where. As you can see, got the O-ring on there, and then we're going to plug it up into the bottom of the pump. So we got the 16 mil tight. Now for this hose clamp here, what I did is I grabbed it, pinched the clamp, and then pushed the hose in, pushed the hose on. So I'm going to adjust that clamp a little bit more, but that's what I did is I used my pliers to open that and then just push the line on. And then this was easy to go on that 16 millimeter right there. All right, so we got that done. I'm going to leave the wheel off just in case I have a hard time getting the serpentine belt on, because sometimes it's easier to come down here and get it onto the crank pulleys. So what I'm going to do next is I've got those tight, I got everything tight on there. I am going to have to fill the reservoir before we start it, but I'm going to use a long funnel for that. I'm going to get these belts on, and then we'll see what the next step is here as far as bleeding the system. All right, you guys, I got a funnel here that I connected to a piece of hose to go down there into the reservoir. So I'm going to fill it up, and then once I get it filled up, while the wheels are off the ground, I'm going to turn the wheels while the car's off, turn the wheels back and forth like 20 or 30 times. And what that's going to do is that's going to pump fluid into the steering rack and into everything, and then get it going so that when you start it, there isn't a bunch of air in the system. There's still going to be air in the system, so you're going to want to do that, top it off, start it. It'll probably whine for a little bit, then shut it off and let the fluid stop being bubbly, because it'll have air in the fluid. So do that, and then you can make sure that you don't have any other leaks, and you'll be good to go. So with that, thank you for watching. I don't care if you like or subscribe. I just want you to fix your shit. Go ahead, and if you have any comments, leave them. If you have any about my smoking cigarettes, you have a wonderful day.